I'm Maya Jenkins, and I caught my boss sleeping with my sister on a hidden camera, but what happened next destroyed them both. Let me take you back to 6 months ago, when my life in San Diego, California looked perfect from the outside. I was 38, a senior marketing director at a tech startup, married to Daniel for 12 years, and sister to Vanessa, my supposed best friend. We did everything together. Girls' nights, shopping trips, family dinners every Sunday. She was my maid of honor. I was there when she got divorced. I trusted her with my life. That trust. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. It started with small things I ignored. Daniel coming home late, claiming project deadlines. My boss, Marcus Reed, charming, successful, married with 2 kids, suddenly taking interest in my work-life balance, suggesting I work from home more often. And Vanessa. She was always busy when I called, but somehow available when Daniel mentioned needing help moving furniture or picking up dry cleaning. I should have seen it. But you never think the people closest to you are capable of that level of betrayal. The first real red flag came on a Tuesday evening. I came home early from a client meeting that got cancelled, and Daniel's car was in the driveway. Strange, since he'd texted me an hour ago saying he'd be at the gym until 8. I walked in, and the house was quiet. Too quiet. His gym bag was by the door, unopened. His shoes were at the bottom of the stairs. My heart started pounding. I climbed those stairs like I was walking toward my own execution. The bedroom door was cracked open. I heard laughter. A woman's voice. But it wasn't what you think, not yet. When I pushed the door open, Daniel was alone, on his phone, grinning at the screen like a teenager. "Who are you texting?" I asked. He jumped like I'd fired a gun. "Jesus, Maya, you scared me. Just work stuff. Work stuff doesn't make a grown man blush. Work stuff doesn't make someone scramble to lock their phone." But I let it go. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. That was my first mistake. 2 weeks later, Marcus called me into his office. "Maya, I need you to head the New York pitch next month. 3 days, full campaign presentation. This could mean partnership for you." Partnership. The word I'd been chasing for 5 years. I was ecstatic. I called Daniel immediately. He seemed relieved. "That's great, babe. You deserve it. Don't worry about anything here." I called Vanessa next. She didn't answer. Texted back 2 hours later. "Crazy day, talk later." The New York trip got moved up suddenly. I was leaving in 3 days, not 3 weeks. Something felt off about how quickly everything shifted, but I was too focused on the presentation to question it. The night before my flight, I couldn't sleep. Daniel was snoring beside me, and I grabbed his phone from the nightstand. I know invasion of privacy. But something in my gut was screaming. His passcode had changed. He'd used our anniversary for 8 years. Now, nothing I tried worked. I lay there until dawn, staring at the ceiling, scenarios running through my mind like a horror movie on repeat. That morning, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to a tech store and bought a tiny motion-activated camera, the kind that looks like a phone charger. I set it up in our bedroom, angled toward the bed, hidden in plain sight on Daniel's nightstand. Then I called my friend Rachel, who works in private investigation, and asked her for advice without explaining why. "Maya," she said carefully, "if you're asking me how to catch someone cheating, you already know the answer. The question is, are you ready for what you might find?" I wasn't. But I had to know. I flew to New York. The presentation went perfectly. We landed the account. Marcus called me personally to congratulate me, his voice warm and proud. "You're incredible, Maya. Take tomorrow off. You've earned it." I should have been celebrating. Instead, I was on the earliest flight back to San Diego. I didn't tell anyone I was coming home. I landed at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, a day Daniel thought I'd be in Manhattan. I sat in my car in our driveway, hands shaking, and opened the camera app on my phone. What I saw made my blood turn to ice. The footage was time-stamped from the night before. 9:47 p.m. Our bedroom door opened. Daniel walked in first. Then Vanessa. My sister. My blood. They weren't even careful. They were laughing. Drinking wine from our wedding crystal. She was wearing one of my robes. Does Maya suspect anything? Vanessa asked, sitting on my side of the bed. Daniel shook his head. She's clueless. Too focused on impressing Marcus. Speaking of Marcus, Vanessa smiled. He's definitely making moves on her. Did you see how he looked at her at the Christmas party? My heart stopped. Daniel laughed. Let him. Keeps her distracted. Besides, once she makes partner, that salary bump is ours. They kissed. On my bed. In my house. Using my success as their cover story. I watched 3 minutes of footage before I had to stop. 3 minutes that included them discussing how long they'd been doing this 8 months, and how they planned to wait until I made partner before Daniel filed for divorce, so he'd get a bigger settlement. But here's the part that broke me completely. Vanessa looked directly at the camera not knowing it was there, just adjusting her hair in that direction and said, she was always the boring one. Perfect little Maya. Perfect grades, perfect job, perfect marriage. She never knew how to actually live. The woman I'd loved like a second half of my soul called me boring while sleeping with my husband. I sat in that car for an hour, crying so hard I thought I'd shatter. Then something shifted. The tears stopped. My hands stopped shaking. And I got cold. Strategically, calculatedly cold. I drove to a lawyer's office one I'd researched on the plane. I showed them everything. In California, alienation of affection isn't grounds for lawsuit, but adultery definitely affects asset division. We drafted papers. Then I called Marcus. I need to talk to you about something personal. Can you meet me? We met at a coffee shop. I showed him the footage, explained everything, and waited. His face went white. Maya. Vanessa and we've been seeing each other too. And there it was. The missing piece. Vanessa wasn't just sleeping with my husband. She was sleeping with my boss. Playing us both. The 3 people closest to me, all tangled in a web of lies, and I was the fool in the center. But I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. Marcus was furious not just at the betrayal, but because Vanessa had lied to him, told him she was single. He agreed to help me. Here's what we did. Marcus called a mandatory company meeting for that Friday. He announced that due to ethical violations, he was stepping down and recommending me as interim CEO. The board approved it that afternoon. I filed for divorce Thursday night. Daniel was served at his office Friday morning. And Vanessa. I invited her to lunch on Saturday. She showed up with that same fake smile she'd been wearing for 8 months. I slid my phone across the table and pressed play. Her face crumbled. You're a monster, she whispered. No, I said, standing up. I'm the sister you underestimated. Daniel's lawyer will contact you turns out. He's claiming you seduced him, coerced him. Marcus is filing a harassment complaint against you at his company, which means you'll never work in tech in this city again. And me. I'm taking everything in the divorce, the house, the accounts, and the respect you thought you could steal. I walked out of that restaurant and never looked back. 6 months later, I'm the CEO of a company I built with my own brilliance, not borrowed from Betrayal. Daniel and Vanessa deserve each other and the miserable life they're building together in his studio apartment. As for me, I'm just getting started.